Ah, the grand old disagreement of whether God lives within or is on a throne up in the sky. We have all seen through the lens of history and of our current story unfolding that people seem to grapple with this question and even go to war over convincing others of their opinion. Then there is the more private questioning and inner turmoil of the individuals. Many of you listening now are seeking the answer to, where is God? Some find it very hard to come to the terms with what they were taught as a child, to what they're coming to know as they evolve into adulthood, even into teenagers now. People are formulating their own spiritual paths at younger and younger ages, and I trust this is exactly how it should be for the planet right now, because simply that is the truth of what is happening. The youth are doing exactly as they have always done, challenging the status quo, challenging the rhetoric, challenging the structures that no longer fit their sensibilities. Here's a little secret. You can do that at any age, and when you do it with the experience of adulthood, you get to do it with much more reverently. I grew up Catholic. I was also very spiritual, so I heard a lot from the priests. They were the speakers. The nuns were never given leadership roles, but the priests got up there almost every day in front of us and would preach about this king on the sky with a mighty fortress where we could hide ourselves. And I always questioned, why do we want to hide? Why is God a sanctuary? And a sanctuary from what? His own creation of earth? And when we come down here to just live outside God's sanctuary? Granted, I'm the ripe old age of 8 at the time, but that sounded so funny to me. I thought this doesn't make sense. On top of that, the priests would often chide and warn us, God will be displeased. And I thought to myself, that's not the God I know. Why would God be displeased with how we are experiencing the life he gave us to experience outside of a sanctuary? The logic just kept failing me. Yeah, I went to confession. I said my little confessions because that's what we did. This is how my family did it. This is how my town did it. And at 8, I figured this is how all families I'd ever seen in my whole entire life do it. But somehow, I always knew deep inside that God knew what kind of person I was. He saw me always, and with love. He knew that any missteps, well, these were just little transgressions in my growth. I mean, I remember thinking all this when I was in grade school, and thus, I didn't really take the whole thing so seriously. The priest just kind of raised his eyebrows at me a lot. But I did see love, and I did see God. I did see that force that I could always talk to everywhere I went. One day, everything started to come into focus. A kind of shaman, a friend who was on the journey of a shaman, but had a lot of other stuff mixed into the journey too. Well, he said, God is within you. I said, oh, that's an interesting feeling. Not out here, but inside me. I feel instantly centered. But then my inner critic barked back, oh my gosh, that's blasphemy. Because even as a child, I knew Reverend and Protestant pastors and priests, and who would just, oh my gosh, they would be up in arms when you say something like that. But my mind kept on it. It kept turning it over. Isn't it funny when someone, even a stranger, says something that really reaches you, you turn it over and over again in your mind? It's like you're healing your auto thoughts, the ones that run automatically from years of conscious or unconscious practice. This is exactly why I'm making these videos for you. I may say the very thing that you need to hear, and indeed, that's what my intention is. But also, in the Soul Manifesto community, there are such warm and welcoming people in our community that they are very likely to say something you need to hear for your breakthrough. And you are equally powerful, you know? Don't hold your brilliance, your insights, your stories in. Share them in the comments. Something you say may very well free a soul from an auto thought that can be plaguing their decisions for decades, ending their true purpose in life. I decided to search it out myself, just as you are doing now. First, I decided to go within, and I used a wonderful little meditation that I have learned. It's a shamanic journey and a transcendental technique all in one. I'll put the link to it so you can go on your own beautiful shamanic journey with me anytime you need it. Here's how I do it. I get myself nice and calm, a quiet spot, and I relax my muscles. I breathe deeply, calming my mind. I get myself almost to that theta state. And then I take 10 beautiful descending steps down into myself, into my spirit, into my own secret garden inside, counting myself down slowly, and down into that little secret garden inside I go. And it's a beautiful personal paradise. It's like my very own garden. I don't know what your garden will be. For me, I made mine like walking into a conservatoire of beautiful plants with glass ceilings. But for me, that's the perfect environment. And I walk in and I see just beautiful flowers, and the fragrance, it just floats through the air and is calming. And the cool slate floors feel so soothing on my feet that I always sit right there. I say, "Hello, soul." My soul says, "Hello, Alena." I say, "Hey, I think it's time that we start venturing a little bit out and find out, where is God?" And my soul says, "Well, Alena, Goddess," and I interrupt it. Now wait, because I know it's my ego sneaking in, trying to sound loving, calling me goddess, because that sometimes can happen, you know? Your ego mind, your inner critic can try to be clever and sneak into your journey. But once you notice it, you can clear it up just by pointing it out. It disappears. So then, soul says, "Alena, God is love, correct?" And I say, "Yes, God is love." And the soul says, "God is omnipresent." I say, "Yes, God is omnipresent." The soul went on to say, "God is in every living thing around you, in the trees, and the flowers, and the water. Did God not speak to you that day on the river, giving strength and solace when you needed it?" I said, "Well, yes, God, it did." Then, if God is in everything, why would God not be in you? Are you not made in the image? In fact, are you really an image? Or are you the source yourself? The soul asked. And so I sat in my little garden, very quiet, very quiet. I had to process this stuff, you know. I come out of that meditation and I start to think and think. And I walk into the woods and I talk to the trees and, you know, just feel God. And every breath I take, I feel the spirit, feel the energy, however you want to label it. But for me, it was spirit. And I'm trying to feel spirit, yet sometimes when I walk by the trees, it's like, I know they know I'm there, and and that they're happy to see me. I'll be walking like on a path on the little river wetlands, and there's not a breeze in the sky, but I hear a certain group of trees start to sway and crackle, you know? Their leaves start to sing, and to me, they're just saying, hello. You know, everything just says hello. And I'm thinking, okay, God is spirit. We don't have a bunch of little different spirits everywhere. We are one spirit. So just like you, once you have a feeling that a new truth, a new concept is opening something up inside you, you just need to know more. So back I go. I do another meditation and I descend down into my garden. It's like a beautiful day as always. I sit on my back patio and I close my eyes and I say, God, are you in me? And all of a sudden I hear, of course, Alena, I am here. And I say, now, are you soul? And again I hear, Of course, Alena, I am soul, I am life, I am love, and I am you. So I sat there a long time, as you can imagine. I had to just kind of sit there, recalibrating myself, my everything. Yeah, that's pretty big, pretty darn big. Well then, who is this thing in the sky, on the throne? And why does everybody think you're so mean? God is all love and unconditional, pure love. You cannot sin. You cannot do anything that would deny you the force of God. And I thought about this relationship with God when I cannot do anything that would deny me the force of God. You know what? It gave me incredible comfort that no matter what, I would have the love of God, which is the kernel of truth I already knew, but I needed to hear it from another. I needed to turn it over in my mind. But wow, to hear that made me feel fantastic. So I started to do more research on a false God. What I found was really extremely interesting. I went back into the Gnostic beliefs. Gnostics are around the same time as the Pharaohs, the Hermetics. Okay, so we're talking way back about 4,500 years ago. If God was the force before all time, before everything, and God is an energy, well, how can it be an energy before all time based on love inside everything? How can God be inside us and still be a king on the hill who is punishing us for doing things it deems inappropriate when all the while it's already inside of us? It simply does not jive. Not for me anyway. Now, I am not trying to convert you. Goodness, no. I'm saying in everyone's own evolution that you get to really think about these things for yourself. You get to turn things over through your own discernment and experiences. I always say our beliefs are like a little glass ceiling. Now, it's okay to think of God on a throne while you're evolving. Of course it is. Nothing is wrong with that. There are so many religions that are so many different beliefs out there, and it's our soul's manifesto to learn, to go on its own spiritual journey, to discover for yourself, where is God? To discover what brings you closer to the truth of God for you. That's what evolution is, folks. Understanding what brings you closer to the truth of God for you. My understanding that God was not just up on his throne watching me, but inside me as a force of creation, a force of understanding, a force of love that helps me move through life, a force that tries to tell me things through my intuition, my dreams, my conversations with you, a force that helps me to actually heal. Is God part of my soul manifesto? Of course. Of course. It's that loving voice, that never critical God who is always there for you. Try that thought on for size. Turn it over in your mind. Does it make you feel love or fear? Heavy or light? Depressed or inspired? Angry or liberated? It's funny, a new truth, a new reality can sometimes sting and upend our senses of ourself. It can be downright uncomfortable, but when the truth rings true for us, ultimately, that adjustment time doesn't last long. The truth, as you turn it over in your mind, will either become more irritating and you may choose to reject it, or it may act more like a salve, soothing, even healing all the past hurts and present dilemmas. In the comments below, let me know what the idea of God being inside you makes you feel. Remember, we are all making our own way to what we like to call the inevitable you, the you were always meant to be. I hope our talk today has brought you closer to that, by helping you to shed anything that's holding you down and accept what is lifting your spirit up. I release new videos every Tuesday and Thursday because, my friend, spirit is love, and love is spirit. Namaste. Thanks for watching. Don't miss out on a single thing. Subscribe below. And here's something else I think you'll enjoy. Namaste.